With that said, I think we can move on to some Olympic news. The International Olympic Committee, IOC, has expelled the International Boxing Association, IBA, the amateur sports world governing body, from the Olympic movement. The decision, confirmed at the extraordinary IOC session on Thursday, comes after the IOC's executive board recommended the IBA be stripped of recognition earlier this month. The vote was 69-1 in favor of the decision, with 10 members abstaining. It is the first time the IOC has expelled a sports governing body. Long-running concerns about the Boxing Federation's governance, finances, and officiating has led to this after the IOC initially suspended the body back in 2019. The beleaguered Boxing Federation had repeatedly been at odds with the IOC. Concerns over bout manipulation and officiating led to calls for reform. Under the leadership of Russia's Umar Kremlev, an opponent was denied the opportunity to run against him for the role of president in an election. Sponsorship from Russian state-owned energy giant Gazprom attracted further condemnation, along with the IBA's decision to allow Russian and Belarusian athletes to compete under their national flags after the invasion of Ukraine. Now, it seems to me, while the IOC insists that politics will not have anything to do with the Olympics going forward, it certainly seems to me like this smells like politics. What do you think?
Well, Mika, thank you. What they said that IBA did wrongly, that made them not to recognize them as global for the sport today, was instead they failed to comply with reforms on governance and ethical issues. And when they put this thing to vote, it was overturned. It was 59 votes to 1. That's to withdraw IBA's recognition. And if you recall vividly, because the last Olympics that happened in Tokyo, this same thing also happened, where IBA was not the one in charge of boxing, and was the IOC, and they said in 2019, they also queried IBA over governance, finance, refereeing, and ethical issues, that they should not involve in the running of the games in Tokyo 2020. So, boxing is part of the 2024 Olympics, but the qualifying bouts and the competition are going to be run by the IOC and not IBA. For IBA, they said this decision was a tremendous error, that they will never believe why this had to happen. And there are serious issues, because they said it's complicated because the position of the IBA is led by a Russian businessman, Umar Kremlev. So they feel that because it's led by Umar Kremlev, that's why they are dealing with them. But it's not anything that has to do with governance, finance, refereeing, and ethical issues. But it's just that everything is intact when we are just some months away from the Olympics in 2024 in Paris.
Well, I mean, fine. You've explained adequately that the IOC wants reforms. It wants to ensure that certain IOC values are adhered to. However, the IOC insists that governance interference is not acceptable. It refuses to accept that certain instances of officiating that falls well below its own consideration of standard officiating be allowed to pass. However, it seems like this attempt to bring boxing into the IOC fold has continually had problems. I wonder if there aren't personal issues behind the scenes that we're not seeing, because when it comes to administrators, they can always find clever, convenient, official justifications for choosing to walk away from each other or choosing to disagree publicly. In this instance, they've stated that the fact that Russian backing of the IBA is a problem for them might have factored into their thinking, their calculus, especially the members of the committee who voted. Maybe not Thomas Bach himself, because there isn't a breakdown of who exactly voted against them and who voted for them. As we saw there, that at least one vote was in favor of the IBA remaining. And Thomas Bach in the past did say that there was no problem between the IOC and the IBA. Now, it seems clear as day that there is a problem. Do you believe that the IBA will go back to the drawing board and try to find a way to live up to the Olympics recommendations that have been given to them since 2019, which they clearly didn't see fit to implement up till now? Now it's too late, they are out, and they will likely not be back in time for the 2024 Olympic Games. What do you think?
My take simply is, IBA also advised another method. They said even if they are going to be running the boxing competition at Paris 2024, just like he did in Tokyo in 2021, we are going to do something and react very fast. And they formed a break towards world boxing. And they've also told several countries to leave the International Boxing Association to join this new organization, but they feel that that's just the way to go. So they've left IOC with their issues, but you cannot run away from some of the things that IOC also complain about, and those things are very, very germane. So if you are saying that somebody is not doing what is right, governance, finance, refereeing, and ethical issues, these are very big issues that can make someone to, say, emotionally tight and put your house in order. But they have also said they are leaving IBA and they are going to form World Boxing Association. But there is something that actually happened, which was on Tuesday. You can't take sports matters for ordinary court. You have to take it to Court of Appeal for Sport. They took that matter there, and on Tuesday, they rejected the appeal.
Yeah.
It was there and then that IBA felt, we've lost this battle, and so we need to do something reactionary. And that reactionary move was what gave back to world boxing.